know. I am your host, Marley Blackman. Marley B, that's me. And I am also the Secretary of Highland, giving you the information you want to know, need to know, and deserve to know. You haven't heard from us in a while. We have had a lot going on with the pandemic, and now with the citywide protest. We were hoping that everybody is safe. We've lost some loved ones, some people that's very close to us during this pandemic, during this hard time. We want to hear from you, so you can always call in and tell us your views and opinions about the city. Our special guest is the man himself, Mayor Hubert Yap. He is going to give city updates, so we're going to dedicate this show to the mayor and to make sure that he's communicating with you guys and letting you know what's going on and what's happening in the city of Highland Park. So stay tuned in, stay locked in, and we'll be right back with Mayor Hubert Yap.
As a single mother, my first job is care about Derek. Everything that I do it from him. When I moved to Philadelphia and this apartment, after 6 months, we need to connect with the world. I use the internet to keep him in a language because that's the way to get connected with my family tradition. He has to know where he comes from. We need internet essential. There's no excuses to not get connected.
The census doesn't matter. I don't see the impact.
Actually, Michigan gets $3,000 per person per year for 10 years to help fund schools, community food assistance, Medicaid, and more.
All right, I'll do it.
I'm kind of worried about my privacy.
The census is for everyone, but your data is not. Your answers to 9 basic questions will not be shared.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
Cool. Be counted today. Visit my2020census.gov.
I'm your host, Marley Blackman. Marley B, that's me. This show is for you, meant for you, and we're glad to be back. Glad to be safe, glad to give you the information that you need to know, want to know, and deserve to know. Our very special guest and the man of the hour is Mayor Hubert Yap, and he's going to be just giving us updates as to what's happening, what's going on. We're going to talk about the reopening of the city and all of those wonderful things. So we're going to just jump right into it. Good morning, Mayor Yap. How are you?
Good morning to you and everyone viewing and listening.
Okay, well, good. So I just want to make sure that we kind of communicate with the city and let them know what's been going on. So first of all, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. As a matter of fact, on May 27th, my entire administration was tested for COVID-19 at Hackett Field, and we got our results back. Mine was negative. I can't speak for the others. I'm sure theirs were too. I didn't hear anything different.
Well, that's good. I know that there was rumored. Is the mayor okay? I know our police chief when this thing first happened, he got the COVID and he's released now. But obviously he's better, but he hasn't been here, and so people were worried about you. They were wondering if you got it and if you were coming back to work and all of that. So let's talk about that a little bit. Can you talk about what was going on at the time when people kind of wanted to know where you were?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've been back. In fact, I was never really off. I've held staff meetings at the rec center and been in communication with my assistant and the legal. I just haven't been participating in the city council meetings, but I'm back, and I was in the hospital. I had a enlarged prostate.
Okay.
The doctors were looking at that, and we've been around. We haven't been anywhere. I heard through a source that I hadn't been seen in like 41 or 71 days.
Yeah.
And the people that put that out there, I saw them often in my travels, and we acknowledged each other. But people will talk, and I'm glad they're concerned about me. That's good. That's good. But
that is good.
I'm here and I'm still working.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're here and you're still working, and we know that you care about the city, and the city is priority to you. Tell us, what have you been doing, Mr. Mayor, with the city of Highland Park as far as developing a task force? Are you going to do anything like that? Are you considering that at all?
I am. As a matter of fact, myself and some staff members, my legal and HR, have discussed forming a task force. But we wanted to wait till after we got the COVID-19 test results back, and we would get like 3 government officials and 2 community participants.
Okay.
We want to have this task force to first identify the hot areas. If it's in a senior building, or if it's in the southeast end of town, or want to identify the area. And we want to communicate with the Wayne County Health Department to get information from them regarding the cases. We know that people have needs like PPE, the protective equipment, and some have needs for food. And we want to make sure that we identify those areas that are hit hardest. As of June 6th, Highland Park has 181 cases and 20 deaths. We want to know where those pockets are. We want to get out there and help as much as we can. So I can say this to any community resident: if you want to volunteer, if you've been tested and you're negative, please contact our Human Resources Department. And I don't have the number handy, but it's 252-0050, and ask for Human Resources.
Gotcha. All right. So that's good that you were able to orchestrate testing for the administration staff, for the whole community of City Hall, legal, human resources, everyone. And I'm glad that everybody came out to get tested, and that makes people feel a little bit better about coming back to work, knowing that people were tested and actually knowing the results as well. Tell us a little bit about the community being tested. Were they a part of this testing operation as well?
That's affirmed. From 10 to 1 a.m., we had the government officials. From 1 p.m. to 4, it was community. But prior to that, there was testing over at 211 Glendale. Dr. I can't think of his name. He runs the building down here for homeless people.
Okay.
Claude Audie. He had 211 Glendale that was testing. And I want to thank all of those officials and community residents.
Yeah.
The human resources, our fire chief, Kevin Coney, they were very active in getting this done. The human resources director, Ms. Akins, she was at the site. She was assisting with the testing, and she was the lead coordinator with Wayne State. I want to thank those people for really getting busy and getting this thing done.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing that to happen and take place in the city. I know the community was concerned about if there was testing happening close or within the city limits, because a lot of people have transportation issues and they can't get to or didn't even want to catch a bus and go even to as close as the state fairgrounds, just because it was a drive-through testing. If you didn't have transportation, you couldn't really get tested if you're walking through. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for orchestrating that and bringing that to the city of Highland Park and to the people. Give me a little bit of information about the reopening of the city of Highland Park. What are some? We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back to it. But let's talk about, why did you decide to close City Hall? What made you do that when you did?
Because of the information that I was afforded, I thought it was necessary, because this is a very serious virus. It will take your life. And also, I was in contact with the governor's chief of staff for Southern Michigan, Ms. Brown. And with the information gathered and the governor's speeches and policies, I decided it was the thing to do. Now, as far as reopening, the governor has set a date for June 12th. And
Yes.
I've tried to follow the governor's policies as close as possible because I think they're thought out and they're sound and solid.
Yes.
The mask, the gloves, all the PPE that she's mentioned, we need to follow. It's life-saving. And at this point, we will have rules and policies for entering the building. There will be PPE equipment available. There will be a requirement that you wear it. Social distancing is still in effect. We will follow the rules because we want to live.
Okay. All right. So we're going to come back to the reopening because there's a lot of information that we want to get out to the community about that and what they have to do even when they come and visit City Hall for any of their business that they need to take care of here, even with coming to court and court dates and things like that. So we'll dig more into that. But I want to kind of go back to communication. We really try to work hard with communicating to the residents with the tools that we have. So you 2 years ago, actually a little over a year ago, you approved with our IT director a budget for us to be able to utilize a program called Gov Delivery. And Gov Delivery is used by most major cities. The city of Detroit utilize that service as well as others to just get out the information, whether it's a newsletter or even if you get the information via text. However, it's one of those technologies that you have to subscribe to. You have to give the information in order to receive the information. So what I mean by that is you have to give the city of Highland Park your email address and or your cell phone number so you can receive the information. So we get information out like that, and we also get information out on our social media sites, which is Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook. But a lot of our residents are senior citizens and they don't have access to those types of things. And so we get a lot of feedback from the community as to what else can we do to make sure that the seniors get the information. Is there something you want to say about that as far as getting information out to the seniors?
Yes, I would. I received a phone call from a resident on Massachusetts recently, and I listened to her complaints and her suggestions.
Yes.
And I was grateful. I'm grateful that the residents are calling me with their recommendations and their complaints.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assure that we will get information out to the residents at least once a month, a community letter that will give you an update of the events going on in the city and the government. And of course, with the way things are going around the nation at this point with the police departments, I'm certainly going to keep you posted because being a career police officer, certain things I'm not going to tolerate as the mayor. And I will be sharing that with you as we go. But I don't want to get into Mr. Floyd right now. You say you're going to take a break?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. Yeah, we're gonna roll this all out. We're gonna make sure that we cover everything. So with all of that being said, we have so much to cover with the mayor, you guys, and I'm so thankful that you guys are tuning in to your very own show, Getting to Know. I know we haven't been on the air for quite some time, and I'm gonna explain all that to you as well. And but I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad that you're back joining us. And we'll be right back after this commercial break.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication with print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166 or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Hi, excuse me, do you have anything for paint?
Straight down that aisle.
All right, thank you.
Young lady, this here's what you need.
Ringmaster?
Ringmaster rubbing oil.
How does it work?
By promoting circulation since 1950,
Massage it in for best results.
Ringmaster took care of my back pain.
Ringmaster got rid of my knee pain, too.
Wow, it sounds like I'm late to the party. I'll take one.
Find Ringmaster at CVS, Davis Drugs, and other fine stores.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
As a single mother, my first job is care about Derek. Everything that I do it from him. When I moved to Philadelphia and this apartment, after 6 months, we need to connect with the world. I use the internet to keep him in a language because that's the way to get connected with my family tradition. He has to know where he comes from. We need internet essential. There's no excuses to not get connected.
Welcome back to your very own TV show. I am your host, Marley Blackman. Marley B, that's me. I'm also your press secretary for the city of Highland Park, giving you the information you want to know, need to know, and deserve to know. And today is the man of the hour, our very own Mayor Hubert Yap. He is giving you the information about giving you updates about what's been going on in the city of Highland Park, how we're going to reopen, and his points and his views on how everything is going to roll out. Welcome back, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. So before we took a break, we were talking about the reopening of City Hall. And we're planning on doing that on June the 12th, which you're taking the lead from our governor. And I think that's brilliant because she's been doing a great job so far. When you put all of the states in the hat, I think Michigan has done a great job as far as protecting its residents and things of that nature. And thank you for following those rules that she's put into place because it's definitely keeping more people alive. So what are your plans on reopening the city of Highland Park?
Well, I want to get back to serving the community, serving the people. Mm-hmm. And we just have to adjust to this new way of doing things. There are days when I'm rushing out the house, I forget the mask, I have to turn around and go back.
Yeah.
We have to adjust. This is
Yeah.
a new way, and we got to stay safe. And whatever it is that we can do to stay safe, that's what we'll do. We will monitor each other. We will look out for each other. If you think your associate is sneezing a little too often, or seriously, it's little things that you have to report because sometimes we don't want to stay home.
Yeah.
But just for our best benefit, we have to do that. So right now, we're going to have our city hall set up to where we're going to honor the governor's policy. We're going to have the floors marked, the social distance. We're going to have the requirements for the mask, even moving around the building. And I would recommend that you not take it upon yourself to change the rules because this is for safety purposes. But we're going to follow the PPE and get the PPE and have extra equipment in the city hall for those that come in and don't have it. We're going to provide it.
So is it hard to get enough PPE? It's like you can't utilize the same mask. They say you have to change it at least once a day. Do we have enough? Do we have a line of supplies that's going to give us enough to make sure that we're able to give one to everybody that enters the building as well as employees. Do we have enough of that stuff?
We've been coordinating, communicating with different agencies to ensure that we can provide adequate PPEs.
Okay. All right. And then, so is the same thing going to happen with the court when people have to go to court? The same rule will apply, or will there be different rules for the court system?
The court system has sent policy down to our 30th District Court, and the policy has been shared with the administration. And our policy for building safety and personnel safety is basically the same. So I'm going to take that state policy, and we're going to add, delete, and form the policy for the building, because as you know, in the charter, the mayor is responsible for managing and controlling property. And that means safety as well.
Yes.
So we're going to get this policy right, and everybody's going to comply.
Okay. Could you give us an update on our police chief? We know that he went down with COVID-19. We know that he was in there, I want to say roughly 72 days. He's home now. Have you spoken to him? Do you know about his recovery and when he may be returning to Highland Park?
Well, at this point, he won't be returning to Highland Park. We're going through the process at this point of selecting a new chief because of our needs. And we sent the Chief Napoleon, a letter thanking him for his service and being willing to come in and give us a hand. Our human resources sent the letter, and our legal has spoken to the chief, and I've spoken to the chief. And again, we do thank him for his services and being willing to come in and give us a hand.
Okay. All right. Well, and is he doing okay?
Yes, he's recovering fine.
Okay.
He was pretty sick with that virus.
Yeah.
Coming around really fine.
Good. Yeah, it's going to take a minute before your body can get back to normal and working state. I hear when you get it, it's torture on your body, especially if you survive it. So it's a blessing that he survived it, because we've lost a lot of people. And one in which, just a real quick moment of silence to Brenda Perryman, which was, obviously, you know, right? She was a co-host, a colleague with WHPR, and she lost her fight with COVID. So, and many others in the city of Highland Park. So, I mean, it's very sad to hear that they didn't make it. So, Chief Napoleon is very, very lucky to have made it through. So tell me, what are some of the effects, and how did COVID change your life, Mr. Mayor?
Well, being restricted to my home, for one.
Okay.
I'm used to going out, and I'm a single man, so I don't cook.
Uh-oh.
This has really rendered me hungry. Honestly, it's put a strain on me, but I'm managing to find places that are carry-outs, and I do some basics, like my mom taught me how to do a hot dog or
boil some water.
An egg, yeah, right. So I'm not completely without food, but it's difficult for me, and I'm sure a lot of others. And since we're talking about this COVID, I want to let the people know that this administration monitors the cases for Highland Park. Like right now, we have 181 cases as of June 6th. We've had 20 deaths as of June 6th, and no new cases at this point. So we're certainly monitoring, and we'll be getting that information out to you. But if you want to get it, all you got to do is contact the Wayne County Health Department. And these figures does not include Detroit. Does not include Detroit. The total deaths as of June 6th is 1,118. The total cases for Wayne County is 9,646. So we try to keep up with the stats, and that's why we're forming a task force to see if, in fact, we can't provide more of the needs in our city. We need to know where those hot spots are and who needs the assistance, and we're going to provide it.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back with more from your very own Mayor, Mayor Huber Yap. We'll be right back.
Now you can catch all of your favorite talk and music on WHPR 88.1 FM, TV 33, and WVIE Virgin Islands FM 107.3 on Google Home and Amazon Alexa. Alexa, open FM Detroit. Alexa, open TV Detroit. Alexa, open FM Virgin Islands. Take command. Get the talk and music you crave on all of your connected devices. Find out how. Go to watkinsbroadcasting.com.
As a single mother, my first job is care about Derek. Everything that I do is from him. When I moved to Philadelphia and this apartment, after 6 months, we need to connect with the world. I use the internet to keep him in a language because that's the way to get connected with my family tradition. He has to know where he comes from. We need internet essential. There's no excuses to not get connected.
To be able to meet people from different countries enriches our lives.
Wayne County gave me so much, my degree, who I am.
The college supports you to grow. They have the different campuses. I'm like, I can try this. Maklit Shonga, Ethiopia.
Sandra Gonzalez, Mexico.
Arminalda Carrick, Bosnia.
Javed Khan, Bangladesh. Go to Wayne County. They will find your path and you will know what to do next.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is RJ Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you. Because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
Hello and welcome back to Get in the Know with Marley B., your press secretary for the city of Highland Park, and the Honorable Mayor Huber Yap, giving you the updates on what's been happening in the city, your city. So thank you for joining in and being with us this morning. So, Mr. Mayor, before we left, you were giving us some updates as far as how many cases there were in the city of Highland Park, as well as an overall view of what's happening in Wayne County. And do you feel like the numbers are going down? We had protests and everything like that. Do you feel like the numbers are going down and things are getting better?
I think it's getting better because in my monitoring the stats for the past few months, almost every day there was a new case or there was a new death. These stats are kind of tapering off, and that's a good sign. And we would certainly welcome this virus to just leave us alone.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So we had switching gears just a little bit. Unfortunately, we had George Floyd. He lost his life to police brutality. And you've had several years of police experience. You actually, you've said this yourself, that you're a cop before you're a mayor. And you definitely enjoy being a cop. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about how those police officers handle that and how police officers are handling Black people within the United States?
Well, I guess I should go back a little bit. 1973, I was a police officer, and I'd been on the job for 2.5, 3 years. And when I came on the job, our department was predominantly white. And let me clarify this black-white thing. I spent 7.5 years in the Army. Some of my best friends were white.
Okay.
On the police department, some of my best friends were white. So when I tell you the truth, don't let it give you any false impressions of who I am and how I feel. In 1973, I remember responding to a radio run on Lincoln Street, and it was shots fired. And I was riding a one-man car, and there was two white officers in the other car, scout car. And they got out of the car, and they walked to this house, pushed the door open, and I'm looking, and I'm thinking, wow, we ain't got no warrant. So they walked in, and the guy came downstairs. He was drunk. And so I remember the name, Rupee. The officers asked him, where was the gun? And they said it was a routine occurrence. Well, he didn't tell them, and they started to manhandle him and throw him around and threw him to the ground, and they started to kick him. I grabbed the police officer that kicked him, and I told him that, that ain't the way to handle this. Well, they went back to the station. The lieutenant called me and he told me that I was through. He says, you're through with this department.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he said I assaulted a police officer. Well, we went to court on that particular case because the drunk filed charges. And I told the judge what happened, and he sent it back across the street to the police chief. And the police chief just forgot it, let it go. But that's one thing. The point I'm making is, as an officer present when a crime is in progress,
yes,
put your knee on that man's neck for that long, that's a crime. The other officers should have grabbed him and stopped him.
Yes.
That's their duty. That's your sworn duty. There's a crime in progress. Well, I'm saying this. At the scene, that officer should have been arrested. Whomever the senior officer, the sergeant, lieutenant, whomever was there should have ordered the they should have arrested that officer and took him into the station, and he should have been charged. Well, the other officers standing around were just as guilty. If you and I go in the bank and I pull out a gun and rob the bank and you with me, you're just as guilty as I am.
That's right.
I just didn't like the way that was handled. And I can say that I'm hearing that a lot of the communities want to discontinue their police department. That's not the way. You're going to need the police. You might want to revisit it and implement new rules of enforcing your duties, but you don't want to end your police department. Because how are you going to take care of your business? You going to pull out a gun on your neighbor or because you disagree? I mean, we need the police, but we need more control. And as far as black, yes, it's been too many black people killed at the hands of the police department over the previous years. I have in my office right now a Senate resolution number 228, 1973. It's for life-saving, not life-taking. In that life-saving event, my partner was shot. But that's our job, is to use that force that's necessary. That was unnecessary what that guy was doing with his knee on his neck.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to tell all my war stories, but.
Well, we want to know about them because we value your opinion, and you are in a city where you control a police department, obviously, and we want to. That leads to my next question: is what are you doing to make sure this doesn't happen in your city, Mr. Mayor?
I met just a few days ago with the officers in charge of the police department, with legal, and we discussed my feelings. There will not be any unnecessary or excessive use of force. As a matter of fact, there's a new use of force general order or policy just revealed, but I'm going to address that with the entire police department. That cannot happen. We're going to play fair. And I found in cases when I was a police officer, if you verbalize, you didn't have to get physical, just verbalize. Treat that man like a man.
Yeah, and with respect.
But, it's respect both ways, civilians, police. And I would encourage all civilians, if you see something that you feel is unfair and you got that phone, use it. If you feel that there's something that the officer is doing or the civilian, come in and give me a statement. We want to be fair. We want to make sure that that defendant, whether it be police officer or civilian, is treated as they should be treated.
Wonderful. Perfect. So again, if you guys are watching the community, if you're watching, you could definitely call into WHPR. We're live via Zoom. So I'm sure we still can take phone calls. If you have a question for the mayor or myself, but definitely for the mayor to even pose what's happening in the city of Highland Park, and some of your concerns, even with our police department, if you have any, or even with the concern of reopening and how those things are going to roll out. So please feel free to give us a call. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you for commenting on that. This also leads to my very next question as far as the protest that happened at Highland Park last Thursday on the 4th. A lot of people were concerned that they didn't know about it. They wanted to know if this was a city of Highland Park protest. Can you clarify what happened with that and who was the leader on that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it was Bishop Ellis from Greater Grace Church on 7 Mile. He called the march was designed by Bishop Ellis and the ministers and clergy in this area. Okay. And I guess the purpose was to show people that we can march without violence and destruction. Okay. And they asked if they could gather in front of City Hall. So it's a public street. I couldn't say yeah and nay, but I welcomed it. And I did call the council president. I called another council person to let them know to get it out to their colleagues. But it was a short notice, and I was present. It was very orderly. The Wayne County Sheriff, Detroit Police, Mayor Duggan. There were those responsible people that took it south from Highland Park to Detroit, and it went very well. And it was a great example of how a march should be conducted without the violence. And you can get your point across that we object to police brutality without the violence. I look at the Minnesota situation, the areas they were in. They were black and brown people, businesses. They worked years to establish the business. Now you come along, you burn it down, you tear it up.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? But I can say this too. I truly believe you had outside influence. I just don't believe people from Highland Park would get out here and tear up the city, burn up the city. Mm-hmm. We are doing great in Highland Park, and I'm sure Minnesota was too. So the outsiders, don't follow that lead. Make up your own mind to do what you know is right.
All right, that's wonderful. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the budget, the city's budget, as well as employment. What does Highland Park look like as far as future employment? What can we do? How can we stand on our own 2 feet? And what are we doing to reestablish the businesses that were probably forced to close or probably are struggling to reopen? So when we come back, we're going to talk about that, okay? All right. Stay tuned, stay locked in to Get in the Know, your very own TV show. And our guest is the Honorable Mayor Hubert Yap. We'll be right back.
As a single mother, my first job is care about Derek. Everything that I do is from him. When I moved to Philadelphia and this apartment, after 6 months, we need to connect with the world. I use internet to keep him in a language because that's the way to get connected with my family tradition. He has to know where it comes from. We need internet essential. There's no excuses to not get connected.
And welcome back to your very own TV show, Get in the Know. We're trying to work through this technology. As you all know, I'm sure everyone that's watching, they've heard about Zoom. They've been on the Zoom meeting. They've seen even TV shows, their daily shows on TV, how they're doing them via Zoom. So bear with us. We're trying to get through this. Thank you so much for your patience. Mayor Yap, thank you so much for being with us today. I want to talk about the city's budget. I know there was some concern and some conflict with the city council meetings about the city budget and things of that nature, you have the floor. You get to tell your side of the story without being interrupted. So please tell us what happened with the city budget.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the mayor is responsible for submitting the budget for the fiscal year. And the city council received the budget that this mayor did not even see, nor did I have anything to do with preparation. And so I asked my finance director to have them to take it off the agenda, which is a norm. And the council pro tempore, Mr. Patrick, and of course the council president went along with it. They denied the removal. Receive and file. Well, I looked at the budget after I got a copy, and there was the state administrator. The position had been elevated from $95,000 annually to $133,150 annually. These are the times when the governor, on May 5th, on WWJ, the governor announced that she was laying off and that some of her staff was taking pay reductions. And then we, being the poorest or the most indigent city in the state, we're going to give an individual a raise from $95,000 to $133,150. I was not going for that. We have our DPW workers at $10 an hour. That can't feed an individual, let alone a family.
Yeah.
And they work in inclement weather, and we expect so much of them. So, of course, I contested it, and I got on the council meeting. They muted me. They muted me. I couldn't speak. So, but we got it straight. The state administrator sent a request for them to remove the the pay increase. But my thing is this.
Yeah.
As a city council, you're responsible, as I am, for the city's growth, the city's survival. How could you recommend or approve giving the state administrator that kind of raise? We cannot afford it, and yet I just don't understand why. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but I do know that I monitor the work production of the state administrator, and I do know that she's been instrumental in some cases, but so have we all. We all have a role to play to serve this community. We know the monies are not there to get the raises that we want. In my position, my office has not had a raise in over 40 years. And I know this is not the time. I've requested, but I didn't get it. And I'm still working for the people. They elected me. And this is my home. And I'm not going anywhere. I went to school here. I live here. So I'm doing the best I can for the city. But I'm not going to give away our money, and I'm not going to allow anyone else to give it away.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for clarifying that and giving us the mayor's point of view on the budget. I think and feel like you needed to have the floor and a platform to be able to do so, so the people can hear directly from you what was going on with the budget. And again, if you guys have more direct questions, you can definitely feel free to call in. And I'm not sure if the number is placed on the screen with the technology, but if you guys hear me in the back in the studio, if you guys can place that number on the screen so people can call in to talk to the mayor directly, that would be amazing. Mr. Mayor, we had companies we have not had a sit-down restaurant in the city of Highland Park in years, and we finally get some ground on. We not only have one, but we have two. And then we have Cakes and Shakes, a wonderful dessert place where people can go and get some sweets. And then we get hit with the pandemic, and they're forced to close down. And we all know that it's not easy to even start a business initially. You're putting your pennies together to get it open, but let alone to be hit with a pandemic and have to be forced to shut down. what are we doing for our small businesses in the city of Highland Park to ensure that they can reopen? And what are we doing to help them?
Well, I've talked to MEDC and Michigan Municipal League and a number of others that are receiving funding to assist the small business. I assigned this to my Community and Economic Development Director, Ms. Teresa Johnson. She's been working on this and communicating. I've talked to the Wayne County Executive, Mr. Warren Evans. I've talked to his CED folk.
Yeah.
And they've given me directions. Wayne County, I believe they got $188 million for things that they have to do in the county. And I've talked to the state. Now, tentatively, this is not firm, tentatively, over the next 2 years, Highland Park should get over $5 million in assistance. But right now, there is immediate assistance for those businesses. And Teresa has that information, and I don't have the updated report. But
Okay.
I can tell you, we are not overlooking our small businesses.
Okay.
Our small businesses is what keep the government, keep the city going.
That's
and
right.
we want to make sure that we assist in any way we can. So contact the CED director, Ms. Teresa Johnson, and she'll give you an update on any information you need about small business.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then there's there any city growth? Are there any new opportunities? I know that before the pandemic, you were working on a huge project with the Means Group. Is that project still happening? Are the other projects that you were working on, are those things still happening, or did the pandemic affect those things?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I can say that the Means Group is still in progress, and they're spending about $40 million west of Hamilton, north of Davison. And it's going to be a great project, great for the city. You imagine when we get 300 to 400 people over there working,
yes,
what that'll do for Hamilton Avenue,
yeah,
the needs for places to eat, clean your clothes, shine your shoes, everything will be needed. Hamilton should blossom with that business. We have 2 new businesses in the Oakland Plaza, Mr. Stu Frankel's area. They're bringing in about 200 to 400 jobs. And when you get the employment, you get the tax base, that's when your city starts to flourish. And as a matter of fact, the jobs, elevating the lives of our residents, and I'd be so glad to see that, because we have been suffering and down for a long time. And I say that based on facts. I grew up in this city. Highland Park was the #1 city in the nation at one time, the model city of the continental United States. Now, I know this. I was a kid when that was going on. So we're on our way back, and the flu's not going to stop us. It just delayed us.
Well, good. That's good to hear.
Yep.
That's good to hear. All right. So I want to, I think we have, let's see, we had a couple of minutes left. I want to definitely get into the 2020 census. We need you, Mr. Mayor, to help us push this thing forward. You have made me your chair for the 2020 census, and I've been doing a lot of work on trying to make those things happen as far as getting the hard to count people involved and making sure that we can get those people counted. There was a ton of events that was lined up before the pandemic. We're trying to get creative and doing some other events that we can make sure that we can get the Highland Park people counted. The amount initially, it was $1,800 per resident in the city of Highland Park that's counted. Now it's up to $5,000 per person. And so we definitely, we want to make sure that, not to put you on the spot, but we want to make sure that we can get some more video with you encouraging the residents to get out and vote. Get out and get counted, as well as vote, get out and get counted. The city of Wayne County, actually, they gave us some grant money for advertising. So there's going to be some advertising dollars that's going to be applied to the city of Highland Park. So you'll be seeing more TV commercials, radio commercials, billboards, print campaigns, and things of that nature. So we're excited about that. But we definitely want to make sure that we include our mayor on some of these campaigns and making sure that your face is in place with these things to make sure that people understand how important it is.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I filled out my paperwork. I was talking to one of the employees working for the census. And I told him that I have two grandboys that come over every summer and stay 2 months with me. They participate in the Reggie McKenzie activities, basketball, football.
Yeah.
And they said I was authorized to claim them. And
You are.
I claim them because they're here, they're living with me, and I've done what I can do and anything I can do to improve the census dollars coming into our city, because I know that's very important.
Oh, absolutely.
It will help us grow, and I thought it was 1,800 to come back with 5,000. That's even greater.
Yeah, it is. It went up to 5,000, which is great, and it has also been extended to October the 31st. So we're going to be doing a hard push until then.
I know that there was a couple 501c3 operations. There's Wayne Metro, but we like to get our city well covered and educated as to what to do and how to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Mr. Mayor. So we are down to our last 5 minutes of our hour. We've been talking for an hour. You can't believe that, can you? It went by so fast. Is there anything that that you would like to say to the residents, the constituents of the city of Highland Park before we get out of here?
Well, I guess I have to go back to my old discipline, policing. That's so important to me. And I'm watching around the world, not just the country, around the world, this Floyd situation in a number of countries. So that tells me that biases and racism and police brutality is all over the world.
Yes.
I'd say this. I'm not a professor. I don't know why people do what they do, but understand that some police officers get in situations and that fear makes them react. Some police officers just have that racism embedded in them. And I was watching CNN. We must work on ridding ourselves of racism. This country has had enough. Black people, brown people has had enough. And I was talking to this one person, and they were saying that, look at the other races in our country. They don't face this. Blacks didn't come into this country. They were forced into this country in chains, shipped. And when they came here, they weren't people. They were property. And now we are behind. We're treated badly, and it's just caught up with it. Us, meaning white, blacks, Mexican, we have to come together. We got to fix this. And in Highland Park, I'm saying this, I'm not tolerating officers that can't control themselves. As a matter of fact, when I came here, 2016, it's my third term as mayor, there was an officer that had been disciplined in another entity, another city, for a criminal act. He was tried and found guilty, and his police chief fired him. Well, he ended up in Highland Park, and he was involved in cases in Highland Park. This guy should have never been allowed to stay in police services. We have to vet our people. We have to communicate with the departments that they release them from. Now, a lot of times when an officer gets involved in a case, they go to the chief. If you don't prosecute me and just let me resign, I'll do it. We need to know these things.
Yes.
We need to know the character that we're bringing in here to ride herd on our citizens. I'm not going to have it. I'm just not going to have it, because I know I've been there when it was bad, when racism was even worse than it is now. I went through 31 and a half years. You can go through this if you want to stay in police services in Highland Park, because we're going to be a family. This is 2.9 square miles. There's no reason why the police and the residents can't be on a first name basis. I played softball on the weekend with families, with children, with parents. I see the child. I knew the child from interacting. He get in some mischief, not serious enough to go to jail. I put him in my scout car. I take him home. I'd talk to mom and dad, and I tell them, hey, listen, I'm not going to take him to juvenile, but I want to see his grades. I want to see his grades. Them grades better be up. You know, I mean, we work together. We were one big family, and we can do that now. And we have officers here, and I got to say honestly, we got good officers here that do participate in community activity. During Christmas, I saw an officer that don't live near this city. She had a beautiful Christmas for Highland Park children, and I got to call her name, Sergeant Holcomb. She gave a beautiful Christmas to our children. I went up to Myers. I was so pleased, you know. But that's what we need. Black, white, Mexican. We need to interact with each other to really understand we're all human beings. We got feelings. We love, just like you do. You know, so, but I don't want to preach.
We needed that. We needed to hear from you.
In this city, we're not going to have that turmoil. We're just not going to have it. If you got to have it, you got to go somewhere else.
I respect that and I appreciate that. And I know all the constituents do as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for joining us on Getting to Know, your very own TV show, literally your very own TV show for the city of Highland Park. So thanks for chatting with us. We'll be back next Monday. Thank you for your patience. The pandemic, and then I had a health scare. So as your host, I wasn't able to be a part of the show. I was actually, this is a message that I really want to share with people. Especially the women that are watching, make sure you get your annual mammograms. I did an annual mammogram and was diagnosed with breast cancer in October. I am completely cancer-free, and I'm very, very happy about that. But that's because I caught it early, and you definitely have to go and get checked out. Definitely have to do that. So make sure you do that every year. So I am back in full motion. So you'll see me next Monday and every Monday after that. And thank you so very much for tuning in. And I love you as always. Have a great, great rest of your week. Goodbye.